de babão.
Court is in session with Ryan in Sacktown on If You Don't Like That. Now, Ryan in Sacktown.
Oh, must be Ryno.
Oh, boy, that's a tough one. Now, see, this guy knows basketball.
You see, that is the standard. That is what you're looking for today. If you are going to be here and participating in Jerry Reynolds Wednesday, hope everybody's having a great one. I know there's a lot going on today here in the country, but specifically Team USA. I acknowledge that, but you get Jerry Reynolds once a week. Team USA, put it on mute. Have Jerry in the background. If you have a question for Jerry, let us know. Put them in the chat closer to about 3:25, and we will get to those. A lot of movement so far in the NBA today. We'll get into that. The Kings have made a couple of announcements and a couple of signings, so we'll let you in on those just about, give or take, 30 minutes ago. The Kings provided us with their Summer League roster, so we'll show that to you here in a second. Let's see what everybody's doing in the chat. Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday to you, Cody. Hope you're doing well. First in. Good job by you, Cody. Well done. As we file in, free agency continues. The free agency today really started to heat up a little bit. I was interested to see Walker Kessler. And how about Jalen Duren? What's up with his value now? The two other bigs are off the board. We'll talk about it. What's up, Flores? Happy Wednesday to you as well. But first, let's get into the Kings. The California Classic kicking off later this week. Is anybody going to go? Are you going to go check out? I think there's going to be a big turnout to see Darius Acuff. I do. There's not going to be any Max Ryno, just so you know, but he will meet the team in Vegas for Summer League. That is going to be the roster. Somebody texted in earlier or put a message in yesterday, I think it was, that said Chris Darnell would be coaching the team. You are correct. So a couple notables here. Isaiah Stevens is going to be on the team. He was a two-way guy last year for the Kings, if you recognize that name. One name that is not on here, Daquan Plowden, noticeably. Somebody who gave the Kings some pretty good minutes at the end of the season last year and was kind of growing in the system. The Kings have filled out their two ways for this year. We'll talk about it here in a second. Michael Scotto was all over it, actually. The Sacramento Kings and Jonathan Mogbo. Somebody put that in the chat yesterday. So y'all are ahead of schedule. Can you share your sources with me? What's up from Reading? How's it going? Hopefully it's cooler there than it is here. It's not too bad here, but it's a little warm. Yeah, so Mogbo is going to be coming over to the Kings on a two-way deal. Renus, happy Wednesday. Might go on Monday. Hope Acuff is still playing by then. Yeah, I think he's going to play. I think he'll play both days of the California Classic. I don't see any reason not to. Maybe they pull the reins back on Neek a little bit. There's two second-year guys, Cardwell. But I think Acuff will play, short of any type of injuries. Yeah, Plowden was fun last year. My guess is he's going to get a better opportunity somewhere else. King reporting on two-way deals is crazy. Yeah, I guess the two ways, Mr. Perfect, aren't good enough for Shams because they fell to Michael Scotto. And here's your other two-way for the Kings. They're going to get Adam Flagler from the Oklahoma City Thunder. Previously was them for a couple of seasons. So there's your two-way contracts. Do you get one more? I'm thinking off the top of my head. Last year it was, yeah, you get three. So the Kings have one more left. Last year it was Isaiah, Plowden, and Cardwell. So you're going to have one more three-way to fill out now that I'm thinking about that, which is smart because the Kings went into summer league last year without having all of their two ways filled, because you might find some talent there. You might have somebody on the roster impress you. It really is. It's a big tournament. That's all it is, summer league. And it's a convention for the NBA teams to get together and maybe talk about some more deals. It was a busy day today. And for those of you that thought I was a little bit too hard on LeBron yesterday, you're wrong. Look at this report that came out today. Did I not make it in? I thought it made it in. It didn't make it in. Okay, so I'll just tell you. LeBron James, get this. LeBron James reports are he is exploring having his final season filmed and documented. Much like, I don't know, The Last Dance. Like I said yesterday, LeBron is going to LeBron. Hey, NBA.
Cleveland!
This is
This
for
is for
me.
you! Oh!
That's what LeBron is saying. Whoever gets me in free agency,
Cleveland!
this is
is
for
for you.
me.
Oh!
Ow. Dang, he hits it with the ow on the way out the back door. My goodness. All right. Let's talk about some of the free agency moves. I will say this. If you notice, I did put up the QR code, and I've also thrown this up. I rarely put up stuff about donations, but I have some big plans for this channel. I want to continue growing it. The King's Court is going nowhere. However, there might be something else coming on top of it. And with that comes some operating costs, comes the things that go along. And I want to do it the right way. I want to bring you guys the best content, the best guests, and also the most interactive environment that we can have. Because one of the coolest things about creating this show was the relationships that were developed within the chat and the people that followed the show and my relationship with all of you. And that was the big thing. It's like, well, if you guys are going to the radio, how are we going to be able to chat? And so we figured out a way to do it. But I want to give you the best sports talk and really the funnest open environment in Sacramento, beginning at 3:00 every day. So if you feel so inclined and would like to contribute to the King's Court, I'm going to put my Venmo up there, and then I've got the show Venmo at times in the QR code. But we have some big things coming indeed. So I can't wait to share that with all you. It is going to be a second show. A second show is coming your way. The King's Court will stay, but as my buddy Jim Rome reminded me not too long ago, you know, he kind of hit me with some truth.
Ryan and Sacktown, bro, you seem to have a lot of time on your hands. A lot of time on your hands, except it doesn't seem like your content's getting any better. No offense.
Burn. Ouch. Damn. That one hurt. So Jerry Reynolds joining us, and I thank you just you all being here and supporting the channel, watching the channel, thumbs up, likes, retweets, just the interaction every day. I look forward to it. I know a number of you look forward to it as well. So please know that is more than enough. But I want to grow it to where we can do some live shows out where we can gather and get together, places like Bennett's, etc. So more announcements to come on that in the soon future, because we will be evolving. So hopefully you can be on the ride with us for that. Let's talk about free agency for the moment. It was a very, very busy day. Such a busy day, I wasn't going to make a ton of slides about it. So Tobias Harris switches teams. He's going to the San Antonio Spurs, which was a position of need that Jerry Reynolds mentioned. I'll be curious to ask Jerry what he thinks about, Tobias. Is he that answer at power forward for them? Kind of feels like a little bit more of a Keldon Johnson, but a bigger presence. I guess a better scorer. You have to respect him a little bit more at all three levels. But the Los Angeles Lakers, busy today. You remember Walker Kessler poo-pooed that offer that the Utah Jazz sent his way? Well, Guess what? There's a reason why. The Lakers are sending a first-round pick, 2 first-round picks, and then a protected first-round pick on top of that to the Jazz for the rights to Walker Kessler. Kessler has signed an extension that I would guess Max Ryno and his agent are paying attention to. At least I would be paying attention to that if I was them. If my arc of my career continues to grow like Walker Kessler's, pay attention, guys. Pay attention. So check this out. The Lakers, 4 years, $130 million, and they basically leave themselves with no first-round picks. They're out of first-round picks. They might own one more. In fact, I don't think they do. The other big move today, Mitchell Robinson, the big man and Dylan Cardwell. Pay attention to this contract, my man, and your agent. Mitchell Robinson. He's leaving the Knicks. He's not just leaving the Knicks. He's leaving the Knicks to go to the Celtics. 3 years, $47.4 million player option on year 3. DeAnthony Melton is going to be hanging around in Golden State. He will remain there. How about Kelly Oubre? He's getting a 2-year deal with the Indiana Pacers. Marcus Smart is going to be headed to, well, that's not Marcus Smart there, but Marcus Smart, the Houston Rockets needed a distributor, tough guy like that. He will be headed to the Houston Rockets on a 2-year deal. So things are moving. Colin Sexton, Los Angeles Laker. John Collins is headed to Detroit, which brings me to Jalen Duren. Jalen Duren's, if you want to say any of his, power, any of his leverage, it has shrunk immensely over the last 24 hours. I saw the reports and I thought it was a little bit of a smokescreen. It was leveraging. The Lakers clearly liked Walker Kessler over him. And then what do you think about the Lakers core now? So you have Luka, they're all in. They're going Luka. And by the way, Stephen A. Smith, you're gross. I can't believe he came out with the take that he had today. I don't know if you guys saw that. You can do the math. But Luka, Austin Reeves, Walker Kessler, that's going to be, and Luke Kennard. Luke Kennard is on his way to the Lakers as well. So that's what they're rolling with. They're going in. Is there going to be any more moves for the Kings? We'll see. I think there will be, but we'll get to that here in a minute. Still got my round of 16. Yeah, there you go. It's only the round of 32. Who cares? Levine is more tradable than Sabonis. Maybe. Because you know why I would say that? Levine is more tradable. The argument that Levine is more tradable for Sabonis is Levine fits in probably much better with the majority of the other teams in the NBA. It's a little bit more seamless for Zach LaVine. True shooting guard, right? And Sabonis, he's that nuanced center. If you're going to pay Domantas Sabonis $50 million a year, you have to maximize his talents. And when you do that, that's when you get the maximum return out of him. But if you're going to ask him just to rebound and put some shots back, that's not going to be getting max value. So let's see. Oh, we got some LeBron comments, of course. I think LeBron finishes it in Cleveland. Interesting.
Cleveland! This is for you! Oh!
I don't think he does. I don't. He's too tied to California. He wants to be in California. Here's the other thing that's become a really big part of LeBron's life. As goofy as it sounds, it's golf. Golf has turned into a big thing for him, a big hobby. And being here in California, you can do that much more during the season than you can in Cleveland. Also, I think playing with Steph Curry, I think that's a huge appeal for LeBron. I think he ends up there. If he's going to take a pay cut, and I believe if I'm looking at, I looked at a couple of different sites last night. Cleveland is the favorite, but I think it's going to be Golden State, But who cares? Who cares where LeBron James is landing? We're going to be getting possibly a LeBron James docuseries. How cool is that going to be, right? Following him around his last season in the NBA. Can't wait for that. I am sure, you know what? When LeBron decided to opt out yesterday, because it just came to him yesterday, when he made that decision, I'm sure the light bulb went off and said, you know what? Dang it. Yeah, let's do it. Let's film my final season behind the scenes. Let's film the tributes that every team's going to give me. Like, so damn vain. Hey, fans!
Cleveland!
This is for me!
This is for you! Ow!
That's right. Did you hear the ow? Come on, Tristan. Pay attention. Yeah, you don't want that reaction from Jerry Reynolds, who joins us here in just about a little less than 15 minutes. Yeah, Tristan, it is a good thing and a bad thing when you get Jerry's attention, because you might get what you got at the beginning of the show, where it's like, oh, man, this guy really knows basketball. That's a good question.
Oh, boy, that's a tough one. Now, see, this guy knows basketball.
And then you might get this. Come on, Tristan. Pay attention.
Tristan, pay attention. Pay attention.
Yeah, come on, Tristan.
Come on.
Come on, Tristan. So annoying hearing identity. Look, the only thing that I am going to say, about Stephen A. Smith's comments, because this is not a political show. I don't like when politics cross over into sports. You won't find me climbing the Empire State Building with any Venmo donations and putting a King's Court flag up. That is not in the plans. It's just an uneven playing field. That's all I have to say. You can dig into that however you would like to, but it's an uneven playing field for everybody. Not just him, not just you, not just your neighbor. It's an uneven playing field. And the field's constantly moving. It's ridiculous. If I came on here and said that on this show, if I went on Fox Sports Radio and said what he said, I don't know. I'm pretty sure I might be trending. And my job might be in question. But here's what makes me sick about Stephen A. Smith, and I'll leave it here. Just what you said. You don't like politics in sports. I respect Stephen A. Smith for building his brand, for his reporting, for what he's done to advance sports in journalism. I respect that. But here in these latter years, his interests have changed. He used to use the sports platform to elevate sports and athletes and fans. Now he is selfishly using the sports platform to elevate his own interests and his own politics. He is dragging it into sports to benefit himself and not what has given back to him a very successful career. It's a two-way street. You give to the game, you give to the industry, and the industry gives back. You don't do what he's doing. And he's not the only one to do it. And it's not quiet. It's not under the table. It's as loud and out there as it could be. When you are doing a show that is all about politics, you're talking about possibly running for an office, and you're still doing a sports show. Great. If that's what you want to do, they need to be mutually exclusive. But you're trying to drag people from sports to your other forum. And for most sports fans, it makes me sick. I know it makes a lot of you sick as well. It's just, how many of you would show up if, every other take you're getting political banter from me? It's not stupid. I don't think the Lakers will be that good. We'll see. They're going all in. I do wonder about I think Austin Reeves and Luca can be really good, but they need to discover a better chemistry than what they've had in the past. LeBron at times has been the straw that kind of stirs that drink when things get a little bit stuck in the mud. They need to find a way to get that ball moving a little more besides between themselves and late in the shot clock, especially. With Sabonis, he's such a liability on a team, especially when he's making 50 million. He's not a liability, man. See, this is the nuanced gray area about Domantas Sabonis. And I understand perfect why you say he can be a liability, because there's parts of his game that aren't great. Same goes for every player in the NBA. Name me one guy. Start with Victor Wembanyama. His post game stinks. He needs to get better at it. Everybody has those areas, right? But what's going to make Domas stick out even worse, looking like he can't do stuff, is when you are not putting him in the correct positions to utilize his talents properly. So that's where I think he gets a bad shake. Were we saying the same thing after the Beam team here? When everything was working perfectly in terms of the ball movement? No. When Domas went on his double-double streak and he tied, who did he tie for triple doubles? I forget who it was. Were we saying that? No. And he was injured last year too. LeBron and James Harden just don't mesh at all. No. What's up, my brother, BJ? Hope you're well. LeBron bowing down to the Warriors. Good ending to his career. Dude, LeBron's going to LeBron. It's about LeBron. Narcissism parade. Yep, there you go. Think Denver is the wild card for LeBron. That would be interesting. I don't see it, though. Sabonis reminds me of a larger version of Steve Nash. Okay. I can't say I have ever put those two in the same thought, but all right, Steve Nash. I mean, Domas isn't running circles around players, but all right, fair enough. Jaylen Brown, Sixers, bang, bang. Yeah, maybe. The Sixers are great at those awful contracts. This has been, the league to a degree has largely rejected Jaylen Brown, or at least the market has largely rejected him this offseason. I find that interesting. And then conversely, the market is embracing Walker Kessler. I'm not trying to poo-poo Walker Kessler. I thought he had a really good rookie season. I thought he was one of the guys that played Sabonis well. I guess that's the way I'll put it. But the guy hasn't been on the court much. When he has, I mean, at least against the Kings, it hasn't been memorable. It's a big contract. And Jalen Duren, man, I don't think he's going to get an offer sheet. I think that ship has sailed here in Sacramento. The Kings aren't going to trade picks for him. It's just not going to happen. We'll ask Jerry about it, though. Jaylen Brown was traded? Did he really? Let's see. Yep, he is traded. Wow. 2028 first-round pick that could convert from a first to a swap that is more favorable to Boston, a 2031 unprotected Philadelphia first, a 2028 second round, most favorable of Golden State, OKC, Milwaukee, a 2030 second most favorable. So the Celtics have agreed to trade Jaylen Brown to the Philadelphia Sixers for Paul George and the picks that we just talked about. Incredible. Hold on. Let's explore these picks one more time. So you get a 2028 first round pick that could convert from a first to a swap that is okay. 31 unprotected Philadelphia first. Okay, that's a legit first round pick. What a moratorium on Jaylen Brown's value. Straight up for Paul George. Teams are looking at the back end of these contracts and they are panicking. That's what they're doing. Holy bleep. Let me go to Boston because I'm sure they have not changed it yet. See, teams are getting really nervous about the back end of these deals. Let me go to the screen share for you so you can see what I'm looking at. Hey, I'm not Grant Napier. I got to change that. But look at the money there. This year, 57. Next year, 61. And in 28, 29, 64 for Jaylen Brown. Paul George to the Sixers was a disaster. I said that from the beginning. Our guy Jay that used to call in all the time. He's like, oh, this is great. It's going to take the Sixers over the top. I'm like, no, disaster. And it absolutely was. So I'm curious if we look at Paul George's salary, because I don't see the Celtics bringing Paul George back past what he's being paid. He was signed 2 off seasons ago. So what's left on his contract? PG. So, okay. Next year, he has a player option. Okay. That makes sense. So the Celtics are dumping that massive Brown salary. That's what they're doing. Because look at Embiid. Whether you like Joel Embiid or not, if you think he's going to be able to stay healthy, he ain't worth $66.9 million in 28-29. These are the contracts that teams are terrified about. And these are the contracts. This is the contract that Jalen Duren is seeking from the Pistons. Just to put that in perspective, Jalen Duren wants this type of contract. He's a really good player. He ain't a Jaylen Brown. He ain't a Tatum. Look at Tatum's number, man. Tatum's making a lot of money too. Crazy. Give me your reaction to this. So the Kings get a couple of two-ways today. Wow. Very, very, it was funny because Jerry and I were talking about this last week. About Tatum over Brown, and Jerry favored Brown over Tatum. Insane. You know what this speaks to? It speaks to the collective bargaining agreement, which you will be going into, I believe, the 3rd year. Don't quote me on that. I think it's the 3rd year that we're going into it, maybe the 4th. That teams now, they cannot wait. They can't say we're going to give this situation another year, another season. It's like a max 2-year sample size to see if something works, and then it's gone. Maybe 3, because the CBA is so brutal. Breaking news, insane, but it's free agency. I'm happy about that. I am also very happy because you know what today is. My favorite day of the week, many of your guys' favorite and gals' day of the week. It's the day we get to talk hoops with the Jerry. Look at that shirt, man. Looking good. Oh, who's that guy on that shirt?
The great one. Just gotta honor the great one.
I love it, buddy. How you doing today?
Doing good. Just trying to follow some of this NBA madness that we have been seeing forever. Boy, that if that trade with Philly is right, I have no. Is Brad? They could need to check Brad Stevens. He might have be on something here. You know, I mean, he's done a marvelous job, but boy, it doesn't seem like anything near the kind of deal you ought to get for Jaylen Brown.
Jerry, you're getting really, if you break this thing down to its bare bones, a first round pick. One unrestricted first round pick.
Yeah,
Unprotected.
and then we know Paul George. It's like he's been a major disappointment pretty much the last 3 years, and he's obviously a very good player when he's healthy and when he's playing, which is pretty rare. And then trading them to your rivals. I mean, I could see, if you feel like you have to move him because of contract unhappiness, that sort of thing. And there's no doubt his contract probably really did a lot to hurt his value, because it's not many teams want to get involved with a $65 million contract.
That's right. You're spot on. I mean, is it in the middle between the NBA saying Jaylen Brown isn't as good as you think, or is it the contract, or where do you put this trade between the two?
Well, I think from the Boston perspective, it's probably a little of both. I don't understand it, but he just simply led them to an unbelievable season when nobody thought they'd even be a serious playoff team. And really in the running for MVP and all that. Now, like I say, I think they, in my mind, I don't know. We can't know what's behind the scenes. And, once his name was out there in the trade rumors, he may have demanded a trade. And that makes it difficult to get as good a deal as you can. But, very surprising. I mean, I guess my short take on it is the Boston Celtics aren't going to be nearly as good next year as they were last year.
Yeah, we were talking about it last week. You said you would take Brown over Tatum if you were Milwaukee.
Just as far as pure talent, like I say, I don't know, unless there's something here again behind the scenes, but I mean, he's a better two-way player. And, the truth was, like I say, he led the Celtics to a terrific year and allowed his coach to be coach of the year, regular season. And really Tatum really didn't factor in at all till the end of the year. And he certainly really was never at his best. So he's younger, and I think he's a better player. And I think we'll probably see that this year.
So just to summarize, it is Jaylen Brown for Jason Tatum. The Sixers are sending a 2028 first round pick that could convert from a first to a swap that's more favorable to Boston, a 2031 unprotected Philadelphia first, a 2028 second round pick most favorable between Golden State, Oklahoma City, and Milwaukee, and a 2030 second round most favorable between Washington, Portland, and Phoenix. Jerry, a lot of money floating out there. We'll get to Sabonis and Jalen Duren in a second, but what were your initial reactions when you saw the deal and the extension for Walker Kessler?
Yeah, I thought, I like Walker Kessler, but not that much. And I thought all the draft compensation was really over the top, to be honest with you. If probably for the Lakers getting him at that price is probably a little too much money. But then, I thought Danny Ainge made a great deal. I don't think the Lakers did. Yeah, I mean, and he's a good player, and he'll be a good fit with Luka and Reeves. But I just think they've saddled themselves with no draft picks for next decade.
Spot on. My apologies. I did say Tatum. I meant Jaylen Brown. That's Jaylen Brown to Philadelphia for Paul George. Philly, they're not going to be done because that Joel Embiid contract, Jerry, goes through 28, 29, and it's $66 million in 28, 29.
Yeah, he's damaged goods too. And I mean, here again, there's no doubt when he's healthy and at his best, he's one of the best in the league, but he hasn't been for 3 years either. It's kind of like Paul George. So, yeah, with Philly. And then my first thought was, Jalen Brown, Tyrese Maxey, and VJ or Edgecombe. I mean, you could play them all three together. If Embiid was 100% healthy, you could play three guards, but I don't like the match for Philly, to be honest with you. I mean, certainly Jalen and Maxey are both ball dominant guys, and so Edgecombe may not see the ball next year.
It's a good point. It's a really good point. I wonder about Boston as I'm thinking about it. It's not like Jalen Brown slows you up, but they were really successful last year playing fast. And it feels like maybe a little bit of a shift. Like we want to play a faster brand of basketball.
Yeah. I mean, who doesn't? But I don't know how they do that.
Yeah.
In other words, they signed Mike Conley, certainly be a backup, but that don't make you faster anymore. You would have 10 years ago. Maybe.
Yeah. Mitchell Robinson also headed to Boston.
Yeah. And so, I mean, that's a nice pickup for them. I mean, Mitchell Robinson, I think, but then again, he's been primarily a backup, and I think he's a good one, but he has missed a lot of time. And I think you almost have to think in terms of him as a 15, 20-minute guy, just like he was with the Knicks.
It's a good point. The Sixers, make no mistake about this. Joel Embiid is available. If somebody's willing to take that contract on, he is available. I just don't think anybody would take that on. So let's talk about the Kings for a minute. They signed a couple of two-way guys today. They introduced the rookies, but the big talk around town has been Domantas Sabonis and maybe Jalen Duren. When you first heard Jalen Duren, what were your thoughts, Jer?
Well, I really like him. He's a young center, 6'9", 10. Made All-Stars this year for the first time. Played very poorly in the playoffs, but 22 years old, the best is ahead. So, if you could trade Domas, and I don't necessarily think Duren is better than Domas at all. I mean, he's better certainly protecting the basket, but that's about it. But he's 22, and so you like that. But I guess you asked me about my first. To me that there's nothing there. There never has been.
Yeah.
In my opinion, that's an agent and player trying to drive up the value. He's a restricted free agent, which means they can match any offer. And the reason he doesn't have an offer from them, they told him to go get one, and they'll match it because they had no intentions of paying him. He's entitled supposedly to a supermax deal about $280 million. Well, he isn't anywhere close to that level player, and so the fact that he would like that, Detroit's not idiots, and so they're really putting him out there kind of like a Walker Kessler. It's like saying, if you can get somebody to give you an offer sheet of $150 million, okay, then we'll match it, and that'll be that. But we're not going to let you go. And the other thing is they weren't scared of somebody offering him 200 and something. Nobody's got the cap room.
Exactly right.
And that's what I say. I think it was as sometimes the big confusion is with some of the media people is that, well, just pay you're so far below the second apron or whatever. It doesn't make any difference. You can't do that. You can't go over the cap, period, to sign somebody's free agents. You have to have cap room. Now, for the Kings, if in fact they wanted Sabonis, you could kind of trade Sabonis for and have a sign and trade, but that's not what they want to do.
No, and I think you hit the nail on the head about them trying to drive the number up, which it's not a conversation That's rare in today's NBA because of this CBA. The Dallas Mavericks traded Luka because they were afraid of paying him that max number. So I guess my question for you is, how do you handle that as a general manager without causing a rift with the player? Because I'm with you, Jer. He's not worth the max. There's only a handful of guys that are.
I think they've done it just right. That's what restricted free agency is for. That's what the owners fought for. It's amazing how rare they use it. But I mean, the worst thing to do is give them, because as we know, as the Kings fans know, and every team in the league knows, once you sign a guy to a bad contract, just to keep them somebody happy, and really for Detroit, let's say, okay, he goes out and he finds out they really can't get anywhere near the kind of deal they want. Well, Detroit comes back and says, okay, we'll give you 5 years at 70 million. Well, why wouldn't he be happy? That's quite a bit more than any other team had interest in doing. I always say that's the bottom line, is you actually let the agent and player find out what their actual value may be, and then you can always sprinkle it a little bit to make them joyful. But yeah, I think that's one of the real keys going forward for franchises is don't try not to get into any more bad contracts than you have to. And because with the cap and the aprons and all that sort of thing, you sign a guy to $5 or $10 million more a year than his real value is, which several of the Kings are probably at that rate. Then it's hard to move them.
Spot on. And the Kings tried to get ahead of that with Sabonis.
Yeah.
They extended him early, thinking, okay, the market's going to go this way. It'll be a fair contract by that time. But then the CBA went into effect. So let's say, and I'm firmly with you, that Duren's going to be back in Detroit, but let's say that he's not. And the Kings make that offer. They send a pick to sign and trade. My question for you is that the right move for where this team is at right now?
That I think it probably would be. I don't, just due to age and trying to redo the team. I don't think, certainly getting Acuff, you're probably not wanting to play through the center position as much, where Domas is really good. Duren isn't anywhere near that same type of center. He's more of a lob guy and run the floor guy, and that probably is a better fit. So, yeah, if in fact it was a Domas for him, a 29-year-old for a 22-year-old at about the same money, and as long as it wasn't a first round pick, if it was a future second or something like that. But I sure wouldn't get into many trade assets in addition to Domas to get Duren, because I think if you go overboard too much, in 2 years you're going to be saying the same thing. It's like, oh, man, this guy's making too much money, and he's not what we thought he was. That sort of thing. And I mean, he's probably one of the 5 or 6 best centers in the league, but probably so is Domas. But like I was talking to a guy the other day, and I said the thing that Duren did this year, had a terrific year. Domas has had about 6 in a row.
Yeah.
Of the same thing, only better. I mean, as far as so do it at your own risk. But I mean, if you want to change your team, that's why I would do it. But I wouldn't add. To me, it's like, okay, in fairness, we're giving you an older player, but really a more proven player than you're giving us. We're taking your young center we think's on the rise.
Yeah, a lot of some national media, I shouldn't say a lot, some thought it would be a step backwards for Detroit. I actually disagree with that. I think that Sabonis, same type of pairing that Toronto was looking at, pairing him with a strong downhill lead guard like Cade Cunningham, Toronto Scotty Barnes, that opens everything else for the rest of your team. and it becomes a very difficult team to defend.
Yeah, I agree. I think honestly, I think they'd be coming out ahead.
Yeah.
They, because they've got some enough help protecting the basket a little bit. They're pretty athletic, and so, but I think he and Cade Cunningham would be very good together. I mean, better than he and Fox were at when they were both at their best.
How would you describe Devin Carter's time in Sacramento in one word?
Just star-crossed. I mean, his rookie year was wasted. It wasn't his fault. I mean, he's injured. Didn't really have a rookie year. Summer league had moments, but overall wasn't what you wanted to see. And then this year, past season, obviously he was really the odd man out all year until the year was over.
Yeah.
Kind of, and had some good games. Certainly shows you he can play defense at the NBA level. Probably not a point guard, which is the big rap and shooting inconsistencies. But yeah, shame really. I don't think I wouldn't say that he's not going to be a player in the league. Find a niche where he can be a valuable player in the league. I don't see how he can be personally a starter on a good team. But I can see, you see it on a lot of teams, guys, after 3 or 4 years kind of click in and find out how to be valuable, hustle players, you see them,
Gary Payton Jr.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's a great analogy right there. And so, he's the kind of guy that I think with his attitude could fit in with stars, and really that's where he needs to get. And of course, for the Kings, they needed stars, and he is not one.
No, he is not. It feels like he never. The word for me that came to mind was clunky. It just feels like he never was able to get off the ground.
Yeah,
here in Sacramento.
Good. Yeah, he just never really, even some of the games he had solid, productive games stat wise, he just never looked comfortable out there to me, especially with the ball. You wanted to see him really come breaking down defenses, making plays, and he just, of course, he said himself he really wasn't a point guard in college at Providence. He was a scoring guard.
Yep.
But no, it's too bad. I mean, and then as you know, when you switch general managers, certainly Scott wasn't the guy that drafted Devin. And so, his year took a back seat because they wanted to find out more about Clifford. And I get that. You traded up to get him in the first round. He's your guy.
Spot on. Peter with a question for you. What are the Sacramento Kings doing with DeRozan? This is free agency. Waive him, stretch his guaranteed money, and let him go get his next contract, not doing him a favor waiting.
No, you're right on. I agree with everything you're saying there. I mean, I think with DeRozan, if they can't make a deal, and it clearly doesn't look like they're going to be able to, and he's willing to take a buyout, stretch it out, I would certainly, waive him, let him go. Certainly, he deserves a chance to find another team and maybe find a competitor. It probably could be his last year. So, and he doesn't fit into going forward. And it's not anything he's done is his fault.
No.
He is who he is. He was terrific scorer, still is. And I thought he sacrificed a good bit, tried to. But that, to me, that's why you need to do just that suggestion. The sooner you put him out there, the better, the more fair it is to him. And if he's doing you a favor by letting you stretch the money, then I think everybody wins.
What would you put the percentage at that DeMar DeRozan will be in a Kings uniform opening night?
Well, I'd say 20 at the highest. Yeah, I'd say about 20%.
Okay. Do you think Westbrook, Cody is asking, is getting any interest from other teams?
That's a great question. I mean, it just takes one, but I think it could be it's not much because he played fairly well. I'm not going to say that, but he was available last year late, and so a year later, this the same teams that weren't interested in him last year probably aren't this year. Now, injuries change things. If you and I think that's Russ's best break is if a team that's a good team and their backup point guard goes down in summer league or early camp, then I think that's where Russ, because they know he can play, but I don't think anybody's looking for him as a starter.
Jerry, let me take that a step further because, as you just said, there wasn't interest for him in the offseason and free agency. But when he came to Sacramento, I don't know of any other team in the league that he would have had that much runway with, that much minutes, that much opportunity. And, he did pass a few people in the record books, becomes the point guard with the most assists of all time. Is that an indictment that there's no interest of Russell Westbrook still right now coming off of that type of season?
Yeah, I think a little bit because, I mean, Russ was Russ, he played balls out every game. You just have to admire the heck out of the guy, the kind of career he's had and the kind of year he played like Russ. I think with teams, my mind is when you're getting stats on a losing team, it just doesn't mean the same. The league doesn't look at say 14 point a game scores on a 22 win team the same they do a 12 point a game guy on a 58 win team. And for good reasons. And so, and it's certainly at his age. But if I were a general manager of a team and had a spot as a backup, and I had an older team that was really competitive, I thought, could compete for something, I'd be interested in him. But as far as a young team that's trying to find their way, and especially now you got a potential star young guard that probably needs the reins turned over to him.
Yeah, and there's you just laid it out perfectly about what kind of team would be looking for Westbrook. And I thought there were a couple, maybe Houston being one, and they go with Marcus Smart. And so I think it's ultimately going to come down to Westbrook being a free agent once training camp comes around, which begs the question, can you have a team with Russell Westbrook and Darius Acuff Jr. here in Sacramento?
Well, you could. I mean, you'd have to really establish things right off. I wouldn't do it like they have done in the past, when they drafted Fox and then also signed George Hill. And basically, George was the starter. And, the so-called mentor stuff. In my mind, the best way of doing it is like they did years ago with Jason Williams. You drafted him and you played him.
Yep.
Trotted his butt out there. And I remember Rick Adelman talking about that. It's like, hey, he's a talented guy. The sooner we get him out there and turn it over, the better off we're going to be. Let him run it. And, then through the years, guys like Chris Paul, he didn't have a mentor. You kidding me?
You're killing me, Jerry.
Well, I mean, that's the kind of stuff just really.
You're right, though. Yeah.
Like do a little research. Yeah. Well, we've got Magic Johnson now. If we can just get a veteran here to work with him.
So we were at the press conference with the Rooks a couple days ago, and Scott does his opening comments, and the first question to Scott is, free agency is about to open. Will you be signing a veteran point guard?
Wow.
How would you have answered that?
I'd say we're not really in the market right now.
I'm just thinking, I went on a little thing about it, and I like the guy that asked the question. It was just wrong time, wrong place. But
well, I think sometimes, I mean, they may feel like kind of like I think we do, but they're kind of getting his temperature. Like, Scott, are you really thinking about that?
Yeah.
I mean, I'd rather, I think with Nick Clifford a little bit, but Malik Monk, I mean, you got guys that can play backup minutes. And certainly if you got Sabonis still, you really don't. It's not that big a deal for a backup point guard. You need somebody to guard him and get the ball up the floor a little bit. That's it.
Very good point. Jerry Reynolds joining us here on the King's Court. Jerry Reynolds Wednesday. The Rooks were introduced. California Classic is coming up. I'm sure you've seen probably some interviews with Acuff. What's your initial takes just about his demeanor from afar?
Well, he's a very confident young man, which you want to see, and he should be. I think he, right or wrong, believes he's ready to step in and run this team, and that's exactly what the team needs. And you just hope he's up to it. You can't know what you can't know yet, but I thought even he handled some of the defensive questions pretty well. It's all meaningless stuff until you get on the floor. It's people trying to think some off the cuff remark has something to do with how they're going to play when it counts. Probably not, but the fact that he is a big name guy certainly seems happy, and I think he is to be a King. And I think his agent is, and I think it makes sense for him to be happy because he's got a chance to, as a rookie, step right in and run this team and develop and establish whatever level he can play at. Some of the other rookies are probably aren't going to be in as easy or good a situations because they're playing more veteran guys, established guys, star guys, and it's kind of like Kingston Fleming's. It's going to be easier for him to play on a winner, but he's not going to be the main man by any stretch.
Yep. By the way, he's going to have a mentor, just so you know, CJ McCollum.
Of course, I think they're good together. CJ really more just like he was with Lillard. I think it's more like that, and that would make more sense to me. If you had a CJ McCollum to play with Acuff, I'd be kind of on board with that for a year.
I would sign up. I would sign up for that. Drew Holiday, I would sign up for that as well.
Yeah, Drew Holiday, absolutely.
So I said the Kings, and within perspective, knowing what the Kings had to work with financially, I thought their top priority this offseason was re-signing Precious Achiuwa. Mm-hmm. They get it done, 2 years, $11.5 million. Great job by Scott Perry, Jared.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think I thought getting Precious when he did, was out there as a free agent and during this late summer, and Precious, I thought, played very well, got better as the year went along. Looks like he can even play a little small ball 5. And then the most important thing, you really got him. They couldn't do a lot financially for him. They were hamstrung, but they got him on a great contract. I think his ability far exceeds that contract, in my opinion.
And I think it benefits him as well because it's a 2-year deal. If he plays and exceeds that, just like he did last year, he's going to have another opportunity to do so. And I think for all those, like last offseason, it was like LaRavia, right? He goes to the Lakers. Oh, man, we needed that guy at that price. Well, you've got a much better LaRavia at a much better deal coming back next season, which, as you said last week, this is really amping up a little bit of the offensive pressure on Keegan Murray, Jerry.
Yeah, it really is. And certainly, regardless what happens with Domas or if they got it's Keegan's, he's on the clock. He really is on the clock, and a lot's expected, and it should be expected. Much improved production and consistency, and I've been one of his biggest supporters, and I'll continue to be. But it's also true. This is it. This is the year. It's time.
Yeah, everybody in the chat will tell you I'm the lead of the fan club the Keegan Murray Homer fan club. I'm in charge of it. They call me a Homer for him. They think I cover for him too much, but it's just I see what he does defense. Jerry, do we overvalue his defense because everybody else is so bad defensively?
That I've thought the same thing sometimes. I think he's a really good defender, but I don't think there's any doubt that when everybody else is so bad, he looks like Bill Russell at times.
I know.
But I mean, he's well above average as a defender on a team that has mostly below average defenders.
And credit to Keegan, credit to Dylan Cardwell. They were both at the press conferences. The California Classic later this week, kicking off. So it'd be the first chance to see Acuff, and then followed by Summer League. Max Ryno is not going to be a part of the California Classic. He will meet the team in Vegas. Grant and I had a little bit of a disagreement about how they should approach some of the second year guys. How would you handle Acuff and Ryno with Summer League this summer?
Well, I think it's very important for them to play. Now, how much that could be different looks at it, but with Acuff, I think with most good rookies in the year, they need to get acclimated to the NBA. The sooner, the better, and the more of it. Now, the level of competition he's going to find in Summer League is it's what it is, but it's a step up from college.
Yep.
And then preseason is a step up from Summer League. And then, so to me, to have a guy go down and play a couple of games, I think's a mistake. I think, you don't want anybody hurt, but they can get hurt at home in pickup games. And if I were with Acuff, playing the California Classic, and certainly maybe at minimum playing 2 or 3 games in Vegas, play 5 or 6 games and at least, I think, because he needs to play. He was a great college player at Arkansas. He doesn't get to play the SEC anymore.
No, he does not.
So he needs to, just like all the other rookies that was DeBonsa or whoever, they need to find out how they start to match up against NBA players. And certainly over the years, seeing a lot of rookies play at Vegas, I don't think you should make too much, but what you do expect is the top players to look good. Not saying they, if a guy goes out there and, and a top rookie and he averages 2 points and shoots 30%, it's a pretty good indicator you screwed up.
Yeah.
But he doesn't have to be the best guy, because a lot of times the best guys in Summer League turn out to be the best guys later on. There were several guys in Summer League better than Curry was, for instance, or Nash was. And but they were good, but you knew they were good. You didn't know how good.
Even last summer, we said Clifford before we said Ryno, and look at how everything turned out. So it's a great point by you.
Yeah, that's a great point there, because Nick Clifford was much the better player, and Ryno certainly counted himself well. You could see that. Yeah. And like I say, in fairness too, I thought Carter was disappointing. He had a couple of good games, but overall didn't do what I was hoping for. And so that's kind of things you look for.
Yeah, you remember we talked about it. It was really weird for him to come out after that first Summer League game and have the ice on his shoulder and talk about having the shoulder thing. That was like my final kind of indication that the two sides were not on the same page.
Yeah, you just hope a fresh start will work for him.
Amen.
Really, he needs a fresh start, because this thing didn't work at any level for him.
No, it did not. Yes, I am a Kobe White homer. I think Jerry joined me in that fan club.
I am a Kobe White homer too.
All right.
I like what Charlotte did. I think Kobe, guy can score, and I think it's one of those things where LaMelo, obviously, I thought was terrific second half of the year, but it's about been in the league. How long has he been in the league? It's about the first time he really looked like he wanted to be a player. And I mean, it may work for Minnesota, but I think really giving Kobe more minutes and stuff, is he as talented as LaMelo? Probably not, but he's a better shooter, pure shooter. His stats will prove that. And I think he can handle well enough, and they've got, they've got some people there. So yeah, we have to, time will tell. I probably think Charlotte's probably done better in their moves than Minnesota has overall.
I would agree. Look, LaMelo's going to have the bigger nights at times, the flashier plays, but if you look at the net rating, night in and night out, you're going to have a higher night rating with Kobe, in my opinion.
And he's not a defensive stopper, but he's better than LaMelo.
Yep, very good.
I mean, I think the whole thing comes down from Minnesota, and they could be right, and I'm certainly not against them, is that LaMelo and Anthony Edwards could become one of the elite backcourts in the league. And there's no doubt that could happen, but it has to happen for it to be a decent trade.
Yeah. And, we haven't seen LaMelo play in the playoff atmosphere, and there's been no realer time to say quote unquote playoff atmosphere than the last couple postseasons because of the physicality. It's just a different game.
And then playing with, and he's never played with a talent like Edwards, who's a ball dominant guy, because LaMelo's been totally ball dominant. Yep. So, it doesn't mean they both can't give a little bit, and they should, to have a great backcourt. They both got to be willing to sacrifice a little of their individuality. But until you see them doing it, you don't know.
Very good point. Okay, I think this is a fair question. Scott Perry has laid out that this is going to be a process. Have patience. We're going to build this thing brick by brick. We don't want to have one playoff run and then 10 years of nothing. We want to have sustained success. I have given Scott Perry a lot of credit for his drafting. I can understand the logic in what he's done the last couple of years. But at what point, Jerry, what's the timeline that you realistically need to start seeing some results if you're a Kings fan?
Well, I think you've got to see results this year. Now, that's not saying you're expect to be in the top 5 or 6, but you've got enough talent on the team to. Now, they had so many injuries last year, but you expect to see a lot more winning and have a right to expect more winning this year. And I'm with you. I think he's drafted terrific. And certainly his free agent acquisitions, Cardwell and Achua, outstanding moves. Now, some of his other signings are open to question. But I think as a Kings fan, I know what I expect. I expect him at least to be 12 to 15 games better. In other words, people always want to talk about culture, this and that, and I get that, but winning is your culture you want to establish, not camaraderie. You want guys who like each other, but you want guys who like each other because they're winning together.
Yeah. Very, very good point. I asked Scott about this, and he's mentioned it now a few times. Basketball IQ. It's something you and I have talked a lot about. It's something that has been inconsistent at best in Sacramento, and with his draft picks and some of the players, at least on paper right now, that he's drafted, these are high IQ guys that come from programs that they were coached well and played at a high level. It's very refreshing to hear IQ. I actually asked Scott, I said, is that where it starts when you evaluate who's going to be a Sacramento King? And he said it's right up there, but it's refreshing to hear a general manager talking about IQ and seeing it reflect both in last year's picks and now this year's on paper.
Yeah, it is. And it is important. And I think he's been pretty consistent in that, that making that a part of it. Obviously just basketball talent probably is always a little bit ahead of everything, but if you can get that's how you get good. You get the Cade Cunninghams and Halliburton, Doncic. These guys not only are really talented, but they're extremely smart, and great instincts. I mentioned Chris Paul. I mean, there was a guy that the day he joined the league, he was a coach on the floor day one. And so basketball smarts goes a long way, because there's quite honestly there's a certain segment of the league that really have athletic talent, but no real instincts for the game, or even really they don't see the game from a 5-man perspective.
Spot on. Very well said. I know when you're not on this show, you are doing your homework. You're constantly preparing. I mean, Jerry, I would like you to cut down from 18-hour days to at least 12-hour days, but I'm sure.
I'll try. But I mean, I just, you know me, man, just work.
I'm sure at some point you came across the name Emmanuel Sharp. What are your thoughts on this young man?
Well, I so happens I watched him play several times, because I really like the coach. I think the Kelvin Sampson is just the best. I think he'd be he's probably the one college coach I think would be a terrific NBA coach. But having said that, they play such good defense, and Sharp, he reminds me a little bit of Lou Dort.
Interesting.
He doesn't do a lot with the ball, but he can shoot it. He can spot shoot, and he can guard you. And he's physical. He's got a little bit of that shitbird in him. And so I thought that was another good pick. And I think he's got a chance. I think that's a guy that may not right away, but I'd almost be surprised if he doesn't find a way to get on a roster and play minutes. There again, Peyton Jr. might be another little kind of like that, but I think he really does have a lot of Lou Dort in him, and as Kings fans, we kind of know Lou's pretty good.
Yeah, and you need that guy. You need
that guy.
Guys
Yep.
that embrace. It was funny because he was asked. All three of them were asked, what do they feel like their most underrated parts of their game were? Caravan said IQ. Sharp said defense, and Acuff said passing, which, I mean, probably couldn't have had better answers from anybody, from any of them. But I guess, roles are so important. And there was a coach that was talking about it. It was Tiago Splitter. You have to be honest with your players. You have to define their role on the basketball team. And you have to have guys that love their roles and want to be stars in their roles. And just from afar, looking on paper, you could see where maybe you could pencil some guys in to certain spots that every basketball team needs to be successful.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, with Caravan, I mean, he's a guy that could play as a starting small forward in this league. He can really shoot it, defends pretty well. Not the most athletic guy.
No,
but with the right roster, there again, with the right stars, you could see where he could have a big role. And then certainly Sharp. I mean, if a player as good as Acuff and say you got a center that can pass like Sabonis, a guy like Sharp might find significant minutes earlier than you think, because he can knock down the three.
Yes, he can.
And then he can guard you. So, here again, you like me and the fans, they've heard him talk about defense now for I don't know how many years. And it would be nice if they actually started putting some stress on that and playing guys who were good at it.
And holding on to the guys that are good.
Holding on to the guys that are good at it.
Oh my goodness. Where does I'll get you out here in a few minutes. Where does Hunter fall with this lineup now in this roster?
Yeah, well, that is an interesting thing. It depends. I could see him going a couple of different ways. I mean, you could play Keegan at 4 and Hunter at 3. And of course with Ryno, but it's also true if you want to go big, you could play Sabonis and Ryno together. Mm-hmm. Keegan at 3, then you got a big lineup. Of course, you could also play Precious Achiuwa at 4 and Ryno at 5. I mean, so they've got a lot of different ways they go. But I think with Hunter, he is a three. I think that's his best position. Now, whether I don't think he has to start though. I think it might be that you might be better off, with the Atlanta days when he was at his best. He was really an off the bench player. He's awfully good that way, and so that might be good to get him back to that.
I agree with you. I think he is one of those players that can change the energy a little bit if you're off to a slow start, kind of like a Malik Monk can off the bench. I think as we sit today, the starting lineup would be Sabonis, Achua, Murray, Levine, Acuff. How about you?
Yeah, I'd go with that.
Yeah.
I think that's the way it'll play out, and then obviously 10 games, so then we can all decide if that's really the way it should stay. and I mean, I do think they've, that, and to me, that's one of the things Coach Christie, I think, will be a key is find, the quicker you get to it, the better off you're going to be. And as far as just like what you talked about, establishing roles and getting guys to understand this is what I'm thinking, and this is our starters, 10 games. We're going to go this way. This is what you're going to do. Now, if things change, we said at 10 games, then we might change roles, but we'll tell you.
Jerry, when's the right time to do that? Because when Doug took over for Mike Brown, it's one of the first things that he did with the players. And I remember Kevin Herter talking about how helpful it was. He knew exactly when he'd be coming in. He knew what his duties were, what they wanted him to do. And it was last season before the first game. It was the day before the first game. We were talking to Drew Eubanks, and we asked about Doug. Has he talked to you about the roles? And the year before, Doug stood everybody in a line and just went one by one. I think Doug ended up meeting with the players that day at some point individually. Is the right time to do that in the off season? Is it before training camp? Is it before the first game? Fill me in.
Well, yeah, obviously, if you had an established New York Knicks team or Oklahoma City Thunder, not that you probably even need to do it, but certainly it could be addressed at any time, almost when you add somebody to your team. But yeah, for a team like the Kings, in my opinion, I think you'd want to be in effect until maybe the last two games of preseason. Because I think you almost want to tell the guys, look, we're open here. We're looking for the right combination and the right guys in the right spots, and this is this is one of the ways we're going to evaluate is how you play in preseason and this, that, and the other, and then once we've made up our minds, we'll sit down to all of you before the season starts and explain it. But I think with this team, I think it'd be. I don't hardly see how you could do it. You know what I mean? Before that, all of a sudden, basically give guys spots.
Right. Because that's that fine line. You said it last year with the rookies that you don't want to just give them minutes. They need to actually earn them as well.
Yeah, and I think, for really good teams is when you have talented veterans fighting for minutes.
Yeah. We saw that with Westbrook and Schroeder last season. Literally fighting,
yeah. Yeah, too bad. I mean, they're both really good players, and it didn't totally work for either one. I mean, it worked better for Russ, but yeah. Well,
we'll see how many people catch up on that or catch on to that. Anyways, there's a ton more free agency moves that have happened that we've not covered. Santi Aldama just got traded to the Dallas Mavericks, it looks like. Are there any other moves? I know John Morant got traded. Anything else that jumped off to you through the first couple of days of free agency?
Well, of course, not too much until, like I said, been minor kind of things other than, the Jaylen Brown thing. That was just a humongous kind of move in Antetokounmpo. I certainly liked it from Milwaukee's place as well as, I understand why Miami did it. And I think Milwaukee came out great, as far as trying to, redo their team and get started again, that sort of thing. Yeah, there's been, and I think we'll see some more movement. I thought it was kind of interesting, the Bridges to Phoenix.
Yeah, you know what? Phoenix has quietly done well.
Yeah, I mean, he's a good player now. There's a lot of baggage. I mean, there's a whole garbage truck there, but
I almost spit out my coffee.
But the guy can play, and maybe they feel like, and they're Michigan State people, coach, owner, so they rightly or wrongly feel that won't be an issue there. They can clean it up, but we'll see. But I thought, there again, Charlotte getting Grayson Allen and what's the guy's name? 6'7" kid that can shoot pretty good. I'm trying to think.
6'7" kid that can shoot pretty good.
Yeah, he was like 6'7".
Luke Kennard.
No, he was on their roster last year.
Con Knipple.
No, that was on Phoenix.
Oh, on Phoenix. Jalen Green?
No. He probably only averaged about 10 a game, but he's been a good player. Signed as, I'll think of it, brain fart. But both those guys are capable of playing minutes.
Yeah,
and they're both good shooters. And I mean, when you add Brandon Miller and Con Knipple and Cody White, I mean, you've got some guys that can shoot the ball.
Yes, indeed. I am with you. I'm trying to think who it was.
Yeah, guys, I'll think of a minute. That's a shame. That is the disappointing thing about getting old. Stuff like that, I never forgot.
I know. We forget the important stuff, but we can remember who that player was right off the bat. Stuff that sticks with you. Okay, last thing. I was kind of critical yesterday of LeBron James for coming out yesterday and saying he would not be returning to the Lakers. And now there's reports that he might be having a docuseries follow him his final season. Royce O'Neal, is that the player?
Yes. Royce,
good job by you, DK.
DK, good job. Thanks for saving me.
Does it come off as like I need to be the center of attention with LeBron? This decision was made well before yesterday morning.
Oh yeah, it's really tedious. I really, as great a player as he is, he's clearly one of the 3 or 4, if not best, all around players to ever play. But boy, he just wears it out. But you can't. I mean, you can't put enough mustard on that hot dog, can you?
No, you cannot. You cannot put enough cream on that.
Here's my take on it, and I've certainly enjoyed watching him play and admire the hell out of him as a player. Still do. He's still terrific. But I'm convinced he knows where he's going to go right now.
Yes.
Right now, he knows, and he's going to drag it out all summer. Like he said, his agent is going to talk to all these teams.
Yes.
He's just jerking people around. And so now I have no idea where that is, but he does. And it's going to be one of those the decision kind of crap things again. And he should have learned from that. That was such a negative. You're going to take it. I'm going to take my talents to wherever.
South Beach, yeah. Look, and he did learn from it. Returning to Cleveland with the letter to the fan base was perfect.
Yeah.
And then you do this. I'm with you. He knows where he's going. Rich Paul, the most powerful agent in the league right now, his most important client is LeBron James. Rich Paul approached De'Aaron Fox and said, hey, I think San Antonio is where you should go. You don't think Rich and LeBron know exactly where they're going right now? You hit the nail on the head. So where's it going to go?
And one thing about it is it's a little different with LeBron and Rich Paul. And I know Rich Paul a little bit. And I mean, LeBron will tell Rich Paul.
Oh, okay.
Rich Paul, the only reason he's the powerful agent is because his first client.
Yeah, you're right.
James. So yeah, LeBron can get Rich into his lane pretty quick.
I would think. You know what? Thank you for getting me back into my lane. You're spot on. Where do you think he lands? We'll end on that.
Well, if I had my wish, it'd go back to Cleveland.
Mm-hmm.
I think if he did, they'd be a serious contender. They won, 64 games a year 2 years ago, and last year they, beat Detroit and top seed, and they, gassed out against the Knicks, but Knicks, beat a lot of teams. But if you add him with Harden and Donovan Mitchell and their two bigs, they'd be really good. I think they'd be serious contenders now. And it's his home. It'd be easy to do, and it'd be the closest way he could be a hero again.
Yeah, it's a good point.
And and that's his home. So I don't know, which means he won't do that. Where I hate to see him go is to the Warriors, of course. And I wish him nothing but bad luck. And all the Draymond and him and Curry and Jimmy Butler.
You know what? It makes perfect sense. It's just a walking disaster of a reality show right there.
It really does have all the potentials there, doesn't it?
Oh my goodness, Jerry, you're the best. Are you getting your walks in before it gets hot these days?
I am. Yeah, good. I'm getting out a little earlier, so that way I can, start preparing for the Wednesday show with you.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure the fans are a little disappointed I couldn't remember that name, but to be honest with you, there's a lot of names I can't remember. So,
well, the fans are pretty nice. They give you a couple of mulligans every now and again.
Do they?
So,
well,
yeah.
Well, tell them I'm going to continue to need those mulligans.
I don't know about that, but hey, stay cool. Have a great 4th of July. I look forward to talking to you next week. If we don't talk sooner, we need to get together soon. It's been too long.
Sounds good. Talk to you, and hopefully we'll have some new stuff and new ignorant trades and free agents and all that stuff to talk about next week.
Yes, indeed. Hey, don't go too wild with fireworks.
Okay, I won't. Yeah, okay. I'll kind of back off that this year.
Yeah, we don't need Jerry with one less finger. So
no, we don't.
Yeah, and you might want to change your shirt before you go out in public too.
Yeah, I was gonna say, this is just for you. Yes, sir. Just a reminder. Great man.
You're the best. I'll pass it along to him.
All right, Jerry. See you guys.
Is there a better segment? Find me a better segment. All because of Jerry. Jerry could do an hour. Jerry could have a great conversation with a broomstick for an hour. His basketball IQ, he's Jerry. It's amazing. So our thanks to Jerry for joining us today. Definitely getting some love. Fireworks are already going off in my neighborhood right now. Like I've already heard like last night a couple of massive booms. It's funny because I get the illegal fireworks are going to be around, and I'm not hating on you if you're a legal firework person, but like, can you not be a legal firework person in the suburbs? Like, it looks like I walk outside into my front yard on the 4th of July, and it looks like I'm standing at Cal Expo in the sky. That's what the sky looks like these days. But anyways, hopefully Jerry is not going to be lighting off any illegals. Great conversation with him. Awesome. Always having him. Any comments, question, Boss Shitbird? Yeah, you know what? You got a shitbird out of him today. You also got that's a great question. Those are the things that we are looking for. Not with that shirt in Sacktown. Yeah, we always joke around. Tristan, did you get a question off? I'm not sure if you did or you didn't. Amazing. Sacramento trade Levine to the Lakers for a LeBron sign and trade. No, LeBron's not coming to Sacramento. What's the pitch to LeBron? Hey, LeBron, you had your first game here in Sacramento. How about you have your last game here in Sacramento? Is there any other pitch than that?
Cleveland, this is for you.
I think it's the only pitch. I don't know. Would you like LeBron here? I don't know that I would. I think would he stunt the development? No, I don't think he would. He's pretty selfless in the regular season. They're not going to be in the playoffs. LeBron wouldn't even make you a playoff team, I don't think. Maybe a play in. Jared getting a lot of love. Vivek coming up in the chat. Interesting. On LeBron. Yes. His tires, much like his head, are balding. Yes. I did say that yesterday. Look, some of you hit me up. You're like, that was harsh, what you said about LeBron. And no, it wasn't. It's accurate. Look at what Jerry just said. Jerry's like, he already knows where he's going. It's an attention thing. And what's stupid is you're LeBron freaking James. You drop that at any time, you're going to get that attention. You don't have to do it right smack in the middle of everybody else's thunder. Anyways, it's time for LeBron to bring his talent to the Bay. I think that's where he's going to end up. I mean, Jerry brings up a good point. It is a little bit of, do you want to be a baby face going home to end your career, or a heel? I know this. It was going to take a lot to get him out of LA, because he loves living in LA. Loves it. He's got his production stuff going on there. I don't know, now that he has been in California this long, that he would go back to Cleveland for the season. I think Cleveland would be the easier path. If he wants a challenge, it's not going to Cleveland. It's going to Golden State. That would be the challenge. But that would also be the heel, the bad guy move, to go to Golden State. Kevin Durant still gets killed for Golden State, going to Golden State. Okay. All right. BJ.
What?
BJ.
Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Saboner? What are we doing here? Saboner? Oh my goodness. Sorry, I missed this. I will get this to Jerry Reynolds. I will save it for next week. Based off of what I know, Jerry, what are your thoughts on Cardwell experimenting with being a power forward, the skill set, so he can do double big lineup with Ryno and Sabonis? You're gonna see a healthy dose of those lineups. And it's actually going to be the other guy moving to the 4. Cardwell will always be the 5 as the rim protector if he's on the court. You would have Max or Sabonis slide to the 4. Actually, and we'll ask Jerry about that. One bugaboo for us when Max really started developing last season and you knew Sabonis was coming back was we were hoping to see the two of them play back together. I know Jerry has been very big on the Kings going back to a form of the offense where you're bringing 2 big guys to each elbow of the key that can pass. It's what the Kings did back in the glory days, 2002, etc. And with Ryno, Sabonis, they both pass well enough that you could do that. And Doug talks about, getting back to where we're not teaching guys a play, we're teaching them how to play. Well, that's kind of a decent way to get there. But even if you don't do that, one underutilized play is the high-low. The Kings used to do the high-low with Harrison Barnes here. There is zero reason that you should not be doing the high-low when it comes to Ryno and Sabonis. Probably Ryno, Sabonis, maybe Ryno, Cardwell, or excuse me, Sabonis, Cardwell. But yeah, leave him as a 3. Okay. Yeah, you got to put Keegan at the 3. And I'll tell you this, because we've asked Keegan. Keegan doesn't care if he's at the 3 or the 4. He doesn't. It's just a better matchup for him. And you can put him at the 3 offensively. That doesn't mean that the other team is going to guard him with a 3. They might guard him with a 4, depending on the matchups. But Jerry's right. It's a big year. It's a really, really big year for Keegan. And he was in town getting some work in. Dylan in town getting work in. And then obviously practice for the California Classic, I believe, kicked off today. Do not quote me, but I'm pretty sure it kicked off today. That is your lineup for the California Classic. You will not have Max Ryno, but he will meet the team in Vegas. My guess is this will be very, very close to what ends up being the Summer League roster. You'll have a tweak here and there because of Max, but yeah, there you go. If you're planning on going out, it'll be your first time seeing Darius Haycup Jr. in person. Go do it. I will be there. Come say hi. Section 105. Say what's up. Love to meet you. I think it would be great for yeah, we hit that already. Okay. I think we pretty much hit everything. Big night. Big day. Team USA getting ready to kick off here in just a few minutes. I appreciate all you for turning out. By the way, if anything big happens with the Kings to where we need to talk, like a Sabonis trade, we will be back. I will hop back on. We'll do a live show. You've got Grant coming up tonight after the soccer game. He's going to be doing an open forum show. My thanks to New Works. And also, hey, why not go watch the soccer game at Bennett's? Go check them out. 3 restaurants, greater Sacramento area, Rockland, Roseville, Howe and Fair Oaks. Happy hour till 6 o'clock. You can still make it. Bennett'sRestaurants.com. Fine, awesome cuts of prime steak and seafood and anything you want. Salads, soups, homemade. Love us some Bennett's. All right, we're out. We'll be back tomorrow. Thanks for being here. I really appreciate it. My thanks to Jerry Reynolds for joining us as he does every single Wednesday. We'll be back at it tomorrow. Free agency still up and going and roaring. So like I said, we'll be back if anything crazy happens. But until then, enjoy the rest of your evening. My thanks to you again, and have a great evening. See you tomorrow. Court is dismissed.